Welcome to Minerva, a monthly show where we discuss the mysteries. We hope to give you enough information that you can go away and do your own study. I'd like to introduce my co-host Duncan.
Hello.
Today we're going to be discussing the mystery of Rennes le Chateau. Now this holds a special place in our hearts because this is essentially how we met.
It is, yeah.
Duncan and I would go backwards and forwards on the internet, on various forums and different places, discussing this mystery and a lot of the finer points of it, really.
Yeah, I'm normally arguing over the finer points of it. That seems to be our way.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, Rennes le Chateau as a mystery in itself is so wide-ranging.
Yeah.
And we felt that when we started Minerva Talks that we would love to do this. This would be the most obvious for us to do as a topic, but we didn't want to do that straight away. So now we've got a few episodes under our belt, so to speak. We're kind of happy to do this. We've also recently been to Renne le Chateau.
We have.
And we've been together. So we've seen things through the same eyes.
Yeah. We can discuss points on site.
Exactly, yeah. So I think we've got a really good understanding of the subject now. So this is going to be a 3-part series, 3 different episodes, and we're going to discuss the mystery across those. So I think hopefully by the end of it, people will have a good understanding of what it's about, and certainly an easy understanding. We're not going to go into too much detail because that's where these books come in. If you want to go away and watch other documentaries and read other books about it, that's where you get your detail. But for this, there's so much, even just, you know, on the basic level that we need to break it down. So I always think the best place to start is Berenger Sauniere, who's the French priest born in 1852, who essentially went through the Catholic system for becoming a priest. He did his study in and around the area that he lived in, which was in and around where Renne le Chateau is, in the Languedoc in the south of France. And essentially, after finishing, there was this kind of rub with him and the church. I don't think they felt that he fit perfectly. He had a bit of a rebel in him. There seemed to have been in some of the talk, and he was sent as a punishment, or at least that's what it seems, to Renne le Chateau, because it was a very small village, 300-ish people on a hilltop, out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And he was sent there to become the priest of the local church. So he gets there and, you know, he's not particularly happy about it, but he decides he's going to give it a go, and he starts to renovate the church. In doing so, under a pillar, or within a pillar, and again, there's lots of theories on that, but he finds 2 parchments. And in finding those parchments, the story really then starts to begin. So what do you feel about the parchment find and that early kind of part of the mystery?
I mean, some people do say it was a parchment find. Some people don't. Some of it is maybe actually physical treasure.
Yep.
Maybe both.
Yep.
Whatever did happen, and the thing that captivates me about the story, because you know I'm such a skeptic on so many things, but this has something to bite into. Because no matter what happened, this priest got access to money where he could not just paint the church, he redecorated it. He spent money on commissioned statues to go in.
Yep.
You have a villa that's built, which I believe he didn't actually stay in. He stayed in he stayed in lodgings, isn't he? So he's built it for guests. And I mean, up until a few months ago, we've only seen it in the photographs. But the parapet and the 2 towers that he has, one a glass one and one a stone one, you see them in photographs. But when you actually see the scale that it actually is, these are not small garden features. These are quite big, substantial buildings. There is no way he could afford it.
No,
not on the salary he had. And so, how did he do it? And that is, for me, the crux of the mystery.
Yeah, and I think one of the other big things is that he built this water tower which brings water up there for the rest of the village. So they were really kind of interested in that part. And, you know, one of the things is, where does this mystery really begin? How do we first find out about these parchments?
Well, that's it, yeah. I mean, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a book written by a first glance, seems to be his own work, where he was reviewing this mystery of a priest, where I think that's possibly the first account of him actually finding parchments in a pillar. And in the book, it had 2 images of the 2 documents. Now, I believe actually you've seen the documents for real, even in the subsequent publications. And this is where we have the story from. Yeah. And then I believe we wouldn't have really heard of it at all if it wasn't for a chap called Henry Lincoln.
That's right.
Who was one of most things, a script writer for the BBC, I believe.
He was, yeah.
For Doctor Who, which of course is another passion. But enough of that. But he bought the French edition on a holiday, read it, and when he was looking at the parchments, one of them had quite clearly where the letters were small letters or letters just slightly raised above.
Yeah, they were slightly raised just above the rest of the letters.
Enough to stand out. And literally, as you read across, it came out with a French phrase.
It did.
Which was it, the treasure belongs to Dagobert II, king, and to Zion, and he's there dead. A beautiful, enigmatic, curious thing.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Dagobert before, but of course, you go into the history to find out.
Yep.
But now, am I right thinking he then got in contact with the actual author?
Yeah, I think what happens at that point, he reads this and he wants to find out more, but he has the idea that this would make an incredibly good documentary.
Yes.
And being a scriptwriter, he takes it to the BBC and says, I want to make a documentary on this. They agree, they think it's a great idea. And in doing that research, he goes to Gerard de Sede, the author of the original book, and asks him, says, why have you not published that code that's within the parchments? Why have you not said anything about it? You've told us the story, but there's this code there. And apparently, and this is all from, Henry's writings and in previous documentaries, and you can go and see him talking about this himself. But he says that at that point, they fenced around this. Gerard de Sede wouldn't give up that he knew, and eventually they agreed that they both had read the same thing. And Gerard de Sede, in talking to him, says, we thought this would be something that you might want to find out for yourself. This is something, we felt that this is something that somebody like you may come to us with, having discovered it. Mm. So then all of a sudden there's a we.
Yeah.
And again, this small mystery that Henry's reading about, which is already getting bigger and bigger, there's this research that's going on, explodes because they now find out there's a we in the background.
Yeah.
Who are that?
Well, of course, because after the Chronicle and those things, we then have Richard Lee and Michael Bagent come on the scene, and that's when we have possibly the most famous book for Renne le Chateau, which would be the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail.
That's right. Yeah.
Which of course goes in one tangent we need to discuss, but they do mention this mysterious society, the Priory of Sion, which eventually, no matter what route you take through or whatever history is given, is meant to be a group of people behind the whole thing, in the sense of either from a historical perspective, claiming to be dating back to we're talking about Knights Templar. What a surprise, we're mentioning that again.
Exactly. They
Knights Templar. But we're really looking at something like the 1950s of creation. But there is this body behind the we. It's apparently the Priory of Sion. Yeah,
and I think once Henry finds that out and he hears about this Priory of Zion, one thing that I found out quite recently was that there was a while between that. He didn't find out about the Priory of Sion for a number of years, actually, until after de Sede. I don't think de Sede originally told him. And again, that's something people can go and fact check and leave in the comments if I'm completely wrong on that. But I do believe there was a number of years between that. But once he found out, he then was pointed towards the library in Paris, the main library in Paris, and he went and found these parchments.
The dossiers.
Yes, the dossiers.
Yes, which is the collection of papers, which when you look at them, look completely random, don't they? There's no standard style of text. Some are typed, some are handwritten. Scale, there's nothing matching in at all. You've got genealogies in there. Sometimes you've got rather cryptic material in there. Some just looks like agenda. It's such a cacophony of different things, but all meant to be linking to this society.
It does, and Henry mentions that within the book Holy Blood, Holy Grail, but he also mentions that within that Chronicle program as well. So, and they're still readily available. The books you can buy on eBay for absolutely nothing now because they were very popular and people have got loads of them around. But also those documentaries, the original documentaries, are now on YouTube, so you can go and find those and watch those because they're a hard watch. They're from the 70s and 80s, and that sort of era was when they were filmed. But they are incredibly, tantalizing, and all the information is still there. So although over time things have changed, and some of it's been debunked and some of it has been rethought about, the main mystery is there. So it's definitely worth going and doing that. One thing that is quite interesting is that they point towards, and the Prior of Sion certainly point towards, this bloodline. A bloodline of the kings of France, the Merovingians, but also the bloodline of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that's really where this episode is going to stop. Because the next thing we're going to discuss is the bloodlines and the many different bloodlines which seem to flow throughout this mystery.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for watching. We do hope that you like, subscribe and comment, and we want to really have some good discussions in the comments.
Definitely on this. So definitely. This is our passion.
This is our passion indeed. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in episode 2.